All right, good morning, traders. Today is February 12th, 2026. My name is Coach Kerrigan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, Podcast Land, Digital Land, Cyberland. Thank you for following, liking, and subscribing to my content. Special shout out, Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy Sauer Roasted for sharing the content, helping get the good word out there to the World Wide Web. Appreciate that. Love that. Really appreciate that. So thank you. All right, let's get started for today. And before we get started, just a reminder, markets are closed February 16th. All right, so we have a 4-day week and a 3-day weekend coming up. All right, so market's going to be closed on Monday. All right, let's take a look at what happened yesterday. So my SPY pivot this morning. 693.30 above it, I'm a bull, below it, I'm a bear. Diamond Dow, which was making new all-time highs, all right, almost made another new all-time high, made a lower high, a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. SPY made outside day, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Outside day is a higher high and a lower low. IWM, same thing, outside day, closing inside the bullish trap over the 17. QQQ, another outside day, closing inside the bearish trap under the 17. Stinker made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17. No surprise there. SPY closed with 2-hour bullish consolidation, 10-minute bearish consolidation. Silver made a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bearish trap and under the 17 EMA. Gold made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap and over the 17 EMA. USO still in a daily uptrend, made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. UNG, lower high, lower low, in a downtrend, closed under the bearish trap and under the 17 EMA. US dollar index in a daily downtrend and closed near the 96.90 area. SPY Max Pain, if they haven't changed it, I left off with them saying it was 692. Maybe in the futures market, maybe some of that changed. I don't know, because the futures are open now. So SPY Max Pain, 692 is Max Pain, and a put-to-call ratio of around just a little over one put for each call that expires today at 4:15. Remember, those index options expire at 4:15. The security options expire at 4. If this is your first time seeing this page, all of these under the bulls column are in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. All of these under the bears column are in are in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they got a little star, they're building out a bull flag. If they got a little star over here, they're building on a bear flag. So this will be a launch pad to launch higher. This will be a platform to dive lower, all right? So that's a bullish, bearish, uptrend, downtrend. All right, let's take a look at the market. Hey, let's go look at Souls. Souls has been on the list for a long time. Just want to show you Souls. Let's move this out of the way just for a second. Let's take a look at SOLS. Souls has a nice day yesterday. I'll pull up the daily chart. So there's Souls with a baseline breakout. Right there. Boom. Just like that. That's a nice rip. 64 up to 74. Obviously, it was earnings. Obviously, it was earnings that did that. But you can see it's almost as if they know the earnings before they come out. You can see the ascending lows. See the low here. A little higher low. A little higher low. A little higher low. And it leads right into this. So, but that was Souls. That was right off the list. I guess this is a new company because it just got started in November or October. Yeah, it looks like October of 2025. So, a relatively new company. I would say that's probably going to be the high of this product right here. We'll see. Advanced materials. Maybe they're doing some rare earth. I don't know what they're doing, but that looks like an exhaustion candle, or it will be, within the next 2 days, an exhaustion move. So we'll see what happens. All right. So that's Souls. Okay, let's go back over to SPY. Just want to point that out. SPY on. Let's take the 10-minute chart. So on the 10-minute chart, we've got bearish consolidation, okay? Because we've got all of this from the 9th and 10th, all right? And then we've got all of this right here, all right, from yesterday. So I'm going to call it 10-minute bearish consolidation. It moved up and over to the right, but it didn't get up here, all right? And it came from way up here. So I'm going to call it 10-minute bearish because it's consolidating under this prior consolidation. All right, so that's SPY on the 10-minute chart. On the 2-hour chart, we have, let me take those off. $10-minute bullish consolidation, all right, in that price has moved from this low down here at 674 up and is moving over to the right. You can see on the 3 EMA there's no clear uptrend or downtrend. It is sneaking underneath the 8. 3 is sneaking under the 8 right here, so we'll see what happens. But that's 10-minute bullish consolidation to me, moving up and holding the higher ground. We're going to move this out of the way. We're going to slap the quad lines in there. All right, and you can see we're clearly in the upper quadrant number 4. All right, so anytime you're in the upper third, for me that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, so bullish right there on the 2-hour chart. Okay, so we'll take that off. You can see that how I got to the point where I'm saying this is bullish consolidation. All right, let's take a look at the daily candle. On the daily candle, we got outside day. It's a higher high, a lower low. We closed. You can see the 3 is up above the 8 EMA here. So we closed above a bullish trap and over, see the dots? And they turn green when price is above. So we're over the 17 EMA. We are over the all-time high anchored VWAP, which is the pink line. Okay, this is SPY on the daily chart. We also have another ascending lows program going through here. Okay, you can see obviously there's a low, and then there's a higher low, and then here's a higher low, and then another higher low, and then we got kind of a double low right there. So looking for a breakout this week. We'll see what happens. SPY on the daily chart. All right, let's take a look at the weekly chart. That is on the daily chart. We are still in a downtrend, believe it or not. We have to make a new all-time high. Actually, if we came up over this high, we might have cleared it. So let me just see. That high is 696.93. That high is 696.96. 697. All right, so we're now in an uptrend because we made a higher high than this low right here. Okay, so we got uptrend now for SPY, technically. All right, so that's in an uptrend. We're up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're at the top of quadrant 4. Here's the origin of the move back in April. All right, we're up at the top of quadrant 4. We're still bullish and in an uptrend on SPY. All right, on the weekly chart, see all the green dots? Nothing's broken. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, obviously see all the green dots? Bullish and in an uptrend. That's for SPY. All right, let's take a look at the game plan. We'll go to the 15-minute chart for the game plan. Let's back out here just a little bit, kind of scrunch things around. Move that over, and there we go. And here we go. All right. We get green erases red over 696.55. So if I get price candles closing up here, that is a green erases red event. All right, for me to take a long trade to go higher. Probably already going to be long this morning. Got the pivot 693.30. Above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Yesterday they stuck us with a little higher high, a little lower low as compared to this baseline right through here. All right, on the red side, we've got 688.30. Below that, I'm a bear. All right, so closing candles underneath that drop off that we had yesterday, I'm going to have to be a bear looking for price to probably come down to this blue line here at 683. Notice the blue line is right here at that peak between two valleys. That'll probably be a likely target if they get below 688.30. We'll see. All right. I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. My favorite trade is 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside the 2-hour uptrend that resides inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend. So right now we currently have daily uptrend, weekly uptrend, monthly uptrend. 2 hours not in an uptrend, but it's in bullish consolidation. And the 10-minute, as you heard earlier, is in bearish consolidation in that price move down and this consolidating underneath all of this consolidation here. We'll see what happens. That's SPY on the 15-minute chart right there. All right, I trade Friday DTE, Friday options on the multiple of 5. Those are the ones I like, okay? So I'll be trading 1 DTE, 0 DTE, and 8 DTE Friday options, preferably on the multiple of 5 because I'll have more open interest, okay? The 0 DTEs don't really matter with the open interest as long as they're near the at the money area. All right, so if SPY is trading at 693, so I'm going to want calls around 693. There's generally going to be a lot of volume coming in and out of the 693, 694 area. Okay, so I don't have to worry about open interest. I really just have to worry about just getting the right strike or having something that I can afford. I like strikes that are $2 to $15 out of the money. Now they are cheaper than the in the money options, but they don't carry the same performance as the in the money options. Okay, so if you want performance, you'll pay up a little bit more for it, but you will get that penny for penny performance, which is a double-edged sword. You can see right here, you got 4 10-minute candles that took price from 697, excuse me, clear down to 689. All right, if you have 10 contracts, okay, that's a big drop. That's like $8 drop. If you had 10 contracts and you sat through all of that, that would be an $8,000 dip in your trading account. All right, so your trading account value, all right, would dip almost $8,000 with 10 contracts like that. All right, so I'm just saying that it's a double-edged sword. So for that reason, I don't like to take on that kind of risk. I choose the out-of-the-money contracts. They tend to be a little bit cheaper. My sweet spot for contracts is somewhere between 20-30 cents on up to $1 to $1.20. Okay, that's my sweet spot. Those are areas that I can protect. I can double down if I need to. I can bring my cost basis down to where the action is happening. So if my cost basis is at 74 cents a share and the action's happening at 50 cents a share, I can add enough to my position to drag my cost basis down into the 50s area, the 50 cent area, so that I can be relative and possibly capture profit in that area. All right, so this morning, based on the futures market, I've got some higher lows right through here. Okay, so I got a higher low, higher low, higher low. This is a 15-minute chart of the futures S&P 500. So based on that, this morning, I'm buying a basket of calls. All right, now, if the 3 crosses under the 8, all right, over here on the 10-minute chart and gets breaks the bearish rubber band candle, which is attached, which is the point of interest going to be VWAP. All right, so if it breaks that, that trade's broken. All right, if the 3 crosses under the 8, you may not want to buy this. All right, you may want to sell it. All right, so I'm just telling you, you may be in a bit of pain if you do the same thing that I'm doing. Me, I'm trying to pick off the bottom and ride that wave up when that ascending lows pattern breaks out to the upside. So we'll see what happens this morning. All right, so again, I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. So if a 10-minute uptrend were to manifest down here, I'd like to see it break the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle so that I could have a nice trade to the upside. So again, I'm not opposed to trading 10-minute uptrends. I don't have to wait till green erases red up here. All right, but if it does break the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle, I will be inclined to take that 10-minute uptrend and go long with it. All right, same with the downtrends. All right, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Again, if they just because they're not down here where the red erases the green entry, all right, and they happen to manifest maybe up here or up here. Okay, again, I'm not opposed to trading them. I just like to see them break the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. Okay, so there's the SPY. QQQ's got a game plan as well. Let's go take a look at that. All right, it's the same thing pretty much as far as the option selection. All right, got green erases red over 617, pivot 612.75. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green underneath 607.70. You can see the outside day here as well. See the higher high and the lower low. Now you see they came down and the bulls bought it right back up. Okay, see how we're back on the same latitude up here above the pivot. So that's a good sign when price dips and the market buys it right back up. Okay, that's a bullish sign, all right, that they're still operating in this area. All right, again, it's the same options, all right? 1 DTE, 8 DTE, Friday options on the multiple of 5 are my preferable choice, okay? Again, I'm not opposed to trading the 0 DTEs. I like strikes $2 to $15 out of the money, again, for the low price point and the less risk. Trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Okay, let's look at QQQ on the 10-minute chart. Let's pick up the clean chart. And you can see QQQ has moved up. And the 3 is not over the 8, but I'm going to call that bearish consolidation in that I see the same thing happening here. Okay, on the 10-minute chart. I'll get consolidation there. And for the most part, most of that consolidation is up over it. All right, so I'm going to call it 10-minute bearish consolidations. Could be really deemed as bullish in that it moved up and kind of held this higher ground area right there. But right now we're still underneath the majority of what we saw the last 2 days right here. Okay, so that's yesterday's price action. So there's QQQ. All right, on the 10-minute chart. Let's take a look at the 2-hour. We're probably going to see the same thing where price moves up and holds the higher ground up here. So I'm going to call that 10-minute bullish consolidation because price moves up and holds that higher ground area. Like to see it break above this all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right here. Okay, so that's a 2-hour chart. On the daily candle, we've got a higher high, a lower low. We closed Looks like it closed inside the bearish trap because the 3 is under the 8. Closed underneath the falling, well, the flat 17. We're in the middle of quadrant 4. Okay, I'll zoom way out. See how we're in the middle of quadrant 4. Okay, so that's bullish up there. We have not made any higher highs. SPY did, QQQ did not. Okay, so you can see QQQ, that's bullish. We're in the middle of quadrant 4, still in a downtrend. All right, the good news is they stopped moving down. All right, so there's QQQ. Weekly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. See all the green dots? We haven't made any lower lows, so bullish and in an uptrend. Same with the monthly chart. Still bullish and in an uptrend. Nice consolidation up there on the monthly chart. That's QQQ. All right, let's go take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, here's one more time. Here's Diamond Dow. All right, so they made a new all-time high on this. See this baseline breakout right here? So that would be a breakout. So they made a new all-time high on this day. I think that's Thursday. Then they made another new all-time high here on, that was Friday, okay? Last Friday. Okay, and then on Monday, they made another new all-time high. I think that was, or maybe Tuesday, Tuesday. And this was Wednesday's candle. So they made, they didn't make a new all-time high yesterday. They made a lower high, but you can see they came incredibly close to making a new all-time high. So we got a lower high, lower low. We closed, excuse me, over a bullish trap. Closed over, see the dots, over the 17 EMA. Okay, you can see we're clearly at the top of quadrant 4. All right, so that's still bullish. Here's the origin of the move back here in April. So that's still bullish and in an uptrend on Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at IWM. Okay, IWM, another outside day. Notice we're closing inside a bullish trap over the flat 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. This is IWM. Okay, at the top of quadrant 4. Okay, notice on IWM, they didn't make any lower lows. Here's the low. They didn't make a lower low, so they're still in an uptrend. Okay, so they're bullish and still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at Stinker. All right, Stinker puts in, no surprise, okay. Just continues to disappoint. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, closing under the falling 17. That's a red dots. Closing under, see the pink line, all-time high anchored VWAP. Here's the origin of the move, which happens to be the all-time low. Okay, so you can see closing under the midpoint. Okay, I would be bullish. I would look for bullish trades over the midpoint, bearish trades under the midpoint. You can see we're spending some time under the midpoint here. So that's FNGU on the daily chart. Again, continues to disappoint us. But, you know, I pretty much gave you the fair warning months ago when I said if we break major support, look out below. And there it is. I even drew in the major support line right here. Okay, so we came down here, we broke it, at the bulls rescued the price action, but failed to make a higher high. And in that, the bears were inspired to make a lower low. Okay, so that's Stinker on the daily chart. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. All right, for silver, let's look at this candle over here. It's hard to see, kind of squinty. Higher low, higher high. Closed inside of a bearish trap over, looks like the falling 17. That's the red dots here. So they got a low. They're in a downtrend. So silver's on a daily downtrend and not in the upper third, so it's just neutral. Now, if they happen to make it into the upper third today, they will convert the neutral status up to bullish, all right? So we'll see what happens. But there's silver on the daily chart. trying to fight off this big move down. We'll see. I actually picture silver coming back up into this area right here. Whether they make new all-time highs, I don't think so, but at least coming back up to challenge this 94.83 area. Okay, we'll see what happens. That's silver on the daily chart. Let's take a look at gold. Okay, so silver was neutral and in a downtrend. All right, because it made lower lows and it was not in the upper third. Gold is the origin of the move back in 2022. Okay, it's up in quadrant 4, so that's bullish. This is bullish. It's up in quadrant 4. And in an uptrend, it has not made any lower lows. So that's gold, bullish and in an uptrend. As you can see, yesterday's candle, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17, bullish, and in an uptrend on GLD. That's gold. Okay, let's take a look at USO. USO in a nice uptrend. Finally holding some higher ground. All right, so you can see here's USO. They came from the neutral zone. Okay, back way out so you can see it. This is quadrant 4. So they're currently camping out in quadrant 4. So that's bullish up there. Okay, see how they're holding the upper third? Okay, so bullish up there. So they've got a higher low and a higher high. They're closing over a bullish trap, over the rising 17, over the 4-year high anchored VWAP. Okay, that's a post-COVID high right there. Over the 4-year high anchored VWAP, back up in quadrant 4. Now you can see multiple times we've been up here since 2023. We come up and we give it up. We come up, we give it up. We come up, we give it up. We coming up and we give it up. And you can see multiple wicks. Okay, multiple times we come up into quadrant 4 and give it up. Okay, the cincher would be if they can get up here and finally hold this area. They're it's looking like a struggle right now, but they don't seem ready to give up yet. So there's USO on the daily chart, again, bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, so maybe March they'll be ready. We'll see. Let's just take a look at UNG. Here's nat gas, put in, looks like a lower high and a lower low. We closed under a bearish trap because the 3 is under the 8, so it's a bearish trap. We closed under the rolling over 17. Notice we go from green to red, and now we start seeing the dots descend. So UNG, there's a low. We made a lower low, so we're in a downtrend. Okay, and if we roll way out here and push this up just a little bit, all right, and this way up there. Okay, so you can see this is the 2025 high. So this is a 12-month high anchored VWAP. Okay, you can still see we're underneath the 12-month high anchored VWAP. And you can see the struggle that UNG has had. See, every time they get up over this 12-month high anchored VWAP, they give it up, they give it up, they give it up, they give it up. All right, so it's down here in quadrant 1. That's bearish. And you can see there's a low. They made a lower low and in a downtrend right now. Okay, maybe next year. I don't know. We'll see. That's UNG on the daily chart. You need to see price move up and hold the higher ground. Okay, that's a big part of being bullish. Price moves up and holds the higher ground area. So when you see products that fail or don't have that ability to do that, it's kind of best for me, just to not even get involved in them because they're not doing what would generate another higher high. Because you want your trends to have the very best possibility to move up higher, make the next wave of price action higher. All right, and if you've picked a stock that keeps having a problem of holding over this pink line, all right, you're kind of setting yourself up for a lot of disappointment. Okay, I'm not saying it's going to be a loss. You could definitely make some money here, but don't set yourself up to disappointment. If you want to trade it, but don't get married to it. Okay, it's clearly not ready yet. All right, that's UNG, bearish and in a downtrend. Let's take a look at technicals. All right, let me zoom over here. Let's start with T2101. Yesterday, price moved an outside day. So you can see we just kind of moved to the right. All right, we made a higher high and we made a lower low. All right, but the good news is we made a higher high and you can see price participation increased up here. So that's bullish. That's a good sign. So the market's still got some remnants of bullishness left in them. That's T2101, T2122. Still on the bullish side of the midpoint. If this were the 50-yard line, you could see we're still on the bulls side. All right, this would be the bears side. See, the bulls still have control up here. We're in the buyer's chop zone yesterday. I like that we didn't make a lower low. See, here's a low here. Failed to make a lower low. So we'll see what happens. This is T2122 on the 15-minute time frame. And not too recently, we spent some time in the buy zone with a brief appearance in the overbought zone. Same thing a few days earlier before that. We spent some time in the overbought zone, kind of camping out up there. Again, I think we can get right back up there again today, maybe in the buy zone, maybe the overbought zone. We'll see. Things are still looking bullish to me in that we haven't made lower lows and we continue to return to the buy zone and the overbought zone. That is a good sign. Look at the series of higher highs. There's a high, higher high, higher high, higher high, equal high. Okay, so I like that. That's a bullish. Look at the lows. Low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Okay, that's a bullish trend. That's a bullish price action right there. So that's T2122. Let's look at T2123 and look at this. New all-time high made yesterday. Thank you very much. Bullish gap up. Look at the bears. The bears were unable to fill the gap, showing clearly who's still got control. The bulls. All right? When the bears can't fill the gap, bulls are showing you they still have control. Okay, so new all-time high. Obviously, it's going to be bullish and in an uptrend. It's hard not to be when you're making new all-time highs. Let's look at the previous day. Look at this. Bullish gap up. All right. And the bears failed to failed to fill the gap. Look at the price action, okay? This is why I was talking about UNG. Look how price moves up, holds, moves up, holds, moves up, holds, okay? See how price continues to move up and hold. This is exactly the type of price action, all right, you want to look for, because this has the best chance of repeating the same thing over and over. Okay, move up, hold, move up, hold, move up, hold. You can see it, move up, hold. All right, see this? Move up, hold. Okay, move up, hold, move up. See the hold? Oh, they dip, but look what happens. The bulls came in and rescued it. And they move it up, and then they hold, and they move it up, and then they hold. So if I were looking for a stock that I was going to position trade, I would want it to have some of this kind of characteristic. Okay? That would be something that I would look for. And then it has the ability to do this, to move up and hold. Now, it's nice when they just continue to keep moving up, but I like to see them move up, rest, re-energize, get some spinach, get some mustard, lift some weights, and then get the power and the strength to move higher to the next plateau. All right? It's all about holding that higher ground. All right, that's what I would look for in my bullish stock. Does my stock, my security, my ETF have the ability to do this? All right, this is a big part of picking the right stock, picking the right price action. Okay, you go back to UNG, you see all those peaks, all those wicks in the sky. Okay, that's not ready yet. Not to say UNG cannot do this. Okay, it can. It's just not ready yet. All right, so there's T2123.15. Okay, that's bullish and in an uptrend. 3-bar chart, obviously new all-time high, bullish and in an uptrend. Here's our origin of the move. You can see right there the April low. All right, April low, that makes a new all-time high, pulls back to the neckline of the head and shoulders right here, and then rallies higher to make another new all-time high. Amazing work on T2123. But that's what inflation will give you. All right, like for the consumer, it sucks because everything that we used to buy last year is costing us more this year. All right, but for the investor, all right, when you're selling the same product that you made last year for more money, or 25% more, or 30% more, or let's say you got a weak dollar, and in that weak dollar, you've opened up new markets because now the currency conversion rate, you become more competitive because it doesn't cost that foreign country as much of their currency to buy your product. So you become more competitive and you open up new markets like that. And what happens is you're generating more revenue on the top line. Now, if management's got their act together and the margins are still the same, okay, in other words, what it costs to make that product between materials and labor, all right, if they got their act together and they're prepared for that influx of new volume, all right, and what happens is you wind up generating a lot more to the bottom line, which equals earnings per share, and therefore you get a higher price for your stock because it's now making more money per share. Not only is it making more money per share, but you're seeing revenue growth, earnings growth, okay, in that, okay? So people get excited about that. So this is T2123, 3-bar chart. Again, that's what you get when you get inflation, is a lot of new all-time highs, okay? Again, for the consumer in us, it sucks. But for the investor, it's an awesome opportunity, okay? Nobody likes inflation, okay, except for the investors, all right? It's an awesome opportunity to find markets that are going to open up find opportunities for markets to make new highs. All right, let's go to Stinker on the 15. Here we are with Stinker on the 15, and let's move this over. All right, so this is the price action. We moved lower, and then all we did was create a bear flag. All right, did we make a higher high? Yes, we did. Okay, so we left off. All right, see this high over the 17. I'm on the, wait, let's go to the 15-minute chart. Okay, so, all right, so here's, so actually we're still in a downtrend. All right, because here's a low. We made a lower low. There's a high. We made a lower high. So 15-minute on Stinker, still in a downtrend. Still underneath the falling 200 SMA. Still underneath all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, if I pull this over, you can see Stinker's still down here. See in quadrant 1, so that's bearish and still in a downtrend, okay, on Stinker. Okay, so it's all the way. You can see the quadrants. Here's Here's number 1. Well, here's number 4, 3, 2. We're down here in number 1. You can see the shaded section. All right. So we're down here. That's number 1. So that's bearish because we're in the lower third. All right. This is the midpoint. So that's bearish, still in a downtrend. Okay. Because there's a low. We made a lower low. Okay. There's a high. We made a lower high. So we're still in a downtrend on Stinker on the 15-minute chart. U.S. dollar index. I'll be brief. I already went through the U.S. dollar. Okay. 2025 high. Okay. You got a downward trend into a big bear flag. All right. We've been in this bear flag now for 7 months. All right. Price action closed. You can see here's a low. There's a high. There's a lower high. This was the low. There's a lower low. Downtrend. Okay. Price action and another lower high right here. Okay. So right here we got price action for yesterday. You can see we closed at the top of the body here. Okay. Almost under the channel. Around the 96, 90 area right there. So U.S. dollar index still in a downtrend. Now, the markets love this, okay? But the consumer does not. There's the U.S. dollar, all right? Let's go take a look at, went through all of this, the technicals. Let's take a look at the economic package, okay? Because we got something important coming up, all right? We have CPI. The delayed report for CPI is going to come out tomorrow. All right, at 8:30. All right, so all eyes are going to be on that, just as all eyes were going to be on the situation, the employment situation yesterday at 8:30. All eyes will be on CPI tomorrow at 8:30. Okay, so today we got jobless claims at 8:30. We got existing home sales at 10, and those are not delayed reports. Okay, just want to report that. You got a natural gas report at 10:30, and then that's it. But the main event is going to be CPI this week later on. Okay, of course the employment situation was a main event too, but there'll be 2 main events. Okay, employment situation was one, CPI will be the next one. All right, that's on the economic calendar. On the earnings front, what do we got today? Okay, Applied Materials, $250 billion. They're going to report tonight. Arista Networks, 180 billion. They're going to report tonight. Unilever, that's a defensive stock. Not sure when they're going to report. Budweiser, okay, $136 billion. Okay, not really a market mover. All right, I'm just going to say it. If you want to be a market mover, you got to be you either got to be tech oriented, all right, or have a huge market cap. Even if you got huge market cap and not being tech, people would just blow it off the earnings. All right, they're not gonna. You're not gonna have an impact on the market. The ones that have an impact on the market are the tech stocks that have a lot of market cap. Applied Materials would be one of them. All right. British American Tobacco, $129 billion. Again, still looking for the P&L or not sure yet when they want to do it. Veritex, $117 billion. Brookfield Corp, $107 billion. Agnico Eagle Mines, $106 billion right there. Okay, so a lot of these right here, probably nothing here is going to move the markets. I'm just going to tell you that right away. Now, will they help out their sectors? Absolutely, yeah. Okay, but there's no edge when you're trading earnings. It's a coin flip. Could go up, could go down. All right, so there's no edge. So trading earnings doesn't help me much. So the only thing I'm looking for when I look at the earnings calendar is I'm looking for something that will possibly move the market, like a CPI, okay, Consumer Price Index. All right, let's take a look at Max Payne. We'll wrap this up. Okay, so Max Payne, let me refresh it because they like to change it sometimes on me. Still 692. Still about a little over 1 put for each call. Okay, that's it for me. Again, I showed you I'm buying. I'm interested in buying a basket of stocks based on the futures market on that 15-minute chart I shared with you earlier. That's this one. Got the higher lows, higher low, higher low. Okay, I'm looking for that to break out to the upside. Okay, so that's my plan for this morning. Is I'll be looking for that 10-minute uptrend. All right, a breakout to the upside. All right, so that's my plan for this morning. All right, I will see you all in about 30 minutes, and we will kick off the market live and record the whole thing. Thank you, Alan, for sharing all the data in this week. If I didn't thank you, I just want to make sure I do, because there was a lot of data that came out the other day. I appreciate that. Thank you. So Alan shared with us the jobless claims, and the consensus was 210,000 to 243,000. Well, the actual was 227, so we're right in line with estimates, all right, or consensus. So looking good, all right. So nothing bad to report there. So we got through that one. Again, the big one's going to be CPI tomorrow. All right, traders, we'll see you guys in about 30 minutes here, and we will kick off the markets live.